are back. It is Fancy Lady Talk. I'm here with Marissa Boyce.
Hi.
I am Rosie Bits. Come for the boobs, stay for the brains. This week we are talking about falling in love.
Woo. Valentine's Day is on its way, so.
It is. So where we are in the world, maybe you're going to watch this as a replay, but right now, in real world time, Valentine's is just a few days away. So what better topic than falling in love? But of course, we have a bit of a spin on it.
Of course we do.
Of course we do. So we're going to talk about the difference between falling in love, limerence, and falling in lust.
Exactly.
Ooh. I like all of them, really.
I love it. I mean, we were just saying, like, we love falling in lust. I mean, who doesn't?
It's true. We love it. We love it. We have a lot of experience in it.
Do.
We know about it. And perhaps, Marissa, we might have actually evolved past it a bit.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost a little sad.
It is actually quite sad. Gone are the days when we just had reckless fun with whoever we wanted, just because they were pretty or available.
Yeah, it's true.
Dun, dun, dun.
And then you realize it's not worth what comes after.
No, it's not. Well, you know, I had a lot of fun on tour, having people in different ports where I didn't have to deal with the emotional repercussions of falling in lust because I could just leave.
That works.
It worked well. In real life,
It doesn't work so well.
It doesn't work so well. So what's the difference? So many people are talking about falling in love and they're like, oh my goodness, I knew immediately. And I told the person I loved them after like week 2 and they looked me in the eyes and they said, oh, I'm so glad you said that because I've been waiting to say the same thing.
Oh my God.
Is that really falling in love? Marissa, what do you think?
Short answer, no.
Short answer, no. So what is falling in love?
I mean, I even hate that it's called falling in
Oh
love.
my God, right?
Right, I think that sets us up right there.
No, you got agency. Okay, my friend, I'm getting my Rosie Big's finger
I'm
out.
falling!
I can't even do anything. He, she, they have seduced me with their magicness.
They push me.
Over the edge. No, because you know what? You have agency. And as we've been talking in video after video, we're really encouraging you and we are learning how to use our discernment.
And discernment is key here. So you can't be discerning and falling in love at the same time.
No.
So I mean, maybe we could call it like leaning into love, you know?
How about opening into love?
Opening into love,
Yeah.
right? Falling sounds like you're out of control, it's chaotic, and what happens when you fall? You really get hurt. You might break something.
Sometimes you crash super hard. Often you crash super hard when you hit the bottom, which is fucking reality.
Mm-hmm.
Which is that falling feeling was a mixture of hormones and chemicals that led you to want to bond to this person super, super quickly. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And none of that is bad in particular, but it's good for you to know that there are stages to actually building a real relationship and to actually opening into love.
Right.
True love. And that falling part is not part of it.
I heard a really good definition of what love really is, and it's really stuck with me over the years. It's mutual admiration and respect.
Yes.
I mean, how do you fall into mutual admiration and respect? I don't think you do.
No, you know what? You get curious.
Yes.
And you discover it and you build it over time. Right? And that doesn't mean, so let's get on to we're going to get back to falling in love, but I think this is a great segue into something that happens when you're getting excited about being with somebody, and it's something I don't think you can really avoid, and it's called limerence.
Tell us more about limerence.
So limerence, I call it the sparkly feelings.
Oh, yes.
Right? I love the sparkly feelings. And a lot of times you'll get to limerence and you'll be like, I'm falling in love. And then things will end shortly after limerence.
It's true.
It won't move beyond that. But essentially it's those, it's that chemical hormonal dump that you get when you're feeling really excited about being with somebody. And I think that is part and parcel of that falling in love. maybe not every single time. I guess it depends on how slowly you progress. But certainly if you have big chemistry with somebody, then you're going to probably experience limerence. So it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's good to recognize what it is, and it is not love. Because all the things that you need to develop love have not yet shown up, right? You need time, you need steadiness, you need for words and actions to line up. You need to have time to use your discernment to say, is this person really somebody who is in alignment with my values and who I am in the world? And for them to do the same.
That's right. Can you trust them, right? Can they trust you? Is this a person that can show up in a way that you're showing up? Are they actually meeting you, you know? Totally. I think a lot of the time when what we call falling in love is building a fantasy version of a person.
Yeah.
And then, you know, just going, like, it's a projection of someone we want them to be, and then we're like, I'm in love, but really it's a fantasy person. It's not in reality that person.
So I had read a long time ago, it'll be interesting, I'm not going to preach this as truth to y'all, but it may well be truth. I read it a long time ago, which is that it takes approximately 4 years to actually get to know somebody. In the time period of 4 years, you get to see most of the parts of that person. So if you think about that falling in love part happens within the first 12 to 18 months, the falling part, right?
That's
that
true.
limerence is usually the first like 3 to 6 months. So I would say, yeah, definitely that's not a true falling in love, but it is a step, you know, it can be a step on that way.
Definitely. 4 years. That actually makes sense, right?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And that's in any relationship, you know, romantic or otherwise. And when I think about that, I'm like, wow, yeah. And it's interesting because I've had partners who it's lasted a lot less than that time, and they're like, well, I know you so well. I know your heart, you know mine. And I'm like, hell no. You're just getting started, baby. I have at least 4 years worth of stuff in here for people to know about.
At least.
At least 4 years.
I mean, what I wish I knew back then that I know now about love and is, you know, that feeling of anxiety that I would feel that I thought was love, you know, that wasn't love. No. That was my anxious attachment speaking. That was me being triggered. That was some trauma bonds happening. Now I know that love feels, you know, it's got this sort of easing into feeling that you're talking about, right? It's slow. It's shifting into a feeling, like we're curious about someone. We're like, oh, this person seems interesting.
Yeah.
You know, what would happen if we talked about this? What would happen if we did this together? How would I feel then? And it's more of a measured feeling than it is this like jumping overboard. I mean, those feelings are still there, thank God. Because, like, why would we do it if we didn't have the sparkly feelings,
yes,
right?
We want to feel excited and sparkly about the person.
We don't want to take that away from you.
No. You get to keep that. But we are just kind of lining up the other components that are part of true love. An actual experience of love. Because the experience of love is also getting to a place where you are wanting the highest good for that other person. And they are wanting the same for you, right? When you're in that space of grasping, anxious attachment, or avoidant attachment, you don't really have a lot of time to think about what is the highest good for that person.
No.
Or do they want the highest good for me? Right? You're just like, I need to be filled because the foundation of who I am, I'm feeling shaky about.
That's right. And that's why I'm like, you know, we've talked about this, but talking to my clients around, like, they're like, I want to meet somebody, you know? And I'm like, are you, okay, where's your intention with that? Where are you coming from? Are you coming from a place of loneliness and lack? Or are you coming from a place of, you know, your worth, you've got a lot to offer.
Yeah.
And you're wanting to actually meet someone and share that with them. You want to share what you have. That's a very different place to come from.
Well, and I think, you know, there's a lot of people out there who there's been a big pushback from the idea that you need to love yourself for somebody else to love you. I don't think that you do need to love yourself. I think other people will love you. But, you know what? creating that foundation of self-love is integral, I think, to having a healthy relationship. It's going to be really hard to be in a healthy, equal relationship without that foundation, or at least being in the process of doing the work, because often it's a lifetime of work for most of us. It's peeling the onion layers. So I'd say, like, your first step to truly falling in love is starting to fall in love with yourself.
Yeah, and the getting to know someone else should look like the getting to know yourself. Like, how have you developed trust with yourself?
Yeah.
And discernment with yourself?
Are you doing things that self-betray still, right? Are you shutting down your intuition because you're just happy to have somebody, showing up and creating those sparkly feelings? Or are you like, no, I feel good about where I'm at and what I'm doing. I feel good about the trajectory I'm on, even if you're not where you want to be yet.
That's
right. You're in the process.
And this idea of, like, I think that, those old sayings ring true, or so people say, like, oh, when you least expect it, you're going to meet someone. And I think that's what they're talking about here.
Yeah.
Is this, you're in your life, you're fully immersed in your life. Like, you're doing it. You're like, I love my life. I'm doing everything I want to do. Maybe it's not perfect, but it's really great. And I feel like that's a good place to be meeting someone from.
I think so too. And I think it's really attractive to see people doing that. And again, it doesn't mean that you're perfect. You can still be in a state of resolving and working through those things. We certainly are. And we're very attractive.
Very.
But, you are building that foundation of self-love, self-worth. And that is definitely attractive. It's attractive to other healthy people.
And I'm getting to know this man right now, and we were talking the other day about, like I said, what I find really attractive about you is you just have this life that you're in love with.
Yeah.
Like, he talks about his life in this way where he's so inspired by what he's doing. And that is really attractive to me.
That's so exciting. I don't want to be with somebody who's not in that space.
No.
Right? Because we're in that space too.
Exactly. Yeah.
And even if you're not in that space, right, creating that, and we've talked about that in other videos.
Or even, like, wondering about it. Like, I want my life to be that way. I want to have a life that I feel excited about. Like, it's not every day. Come on, we're in a pandemic right now.
Yeah.
But still, like, you can be, in general, pretty excited about your life.
Absolutely. And your trajectory.
And if you're not, maybe try and figure out a way to start getting there. Start asking the questions.
And I think before you're worried about falling in love.
Yes.
Making sure that falling in love isn't just the thing you're stuffing into yourself because you don't feel whole on your own.
Well, and the other piece of that I definitely did in the past was like, well, I'm not that happy with what I'm doing. So if someone else comes into my life, I'll just focus on that.
Yeah.
Because that's where I'm getting the good feelings. That's a shaky foundation to build something on.
Yeah, it's a very shaky foundation. It's not fair to you, and it's not fair to the other person, really. And yeah, I've done that as well.
It's a big expectation, right?
Yeah. So let's jump over. I want to talk. I don't want the whole video to be about, just falling in love. Boring.
You want to talk about?
I want to talk about the lust part. I want to talk about the falling in lust. And actually, falling in love is not boring. It's exciting and sexy and all those things. In a healthy perspective, it's just not high drama. It's not high drama, guys. That's the difference. Take a look. Is what you're experiencing high drama?
How do you know it's drama? I think a lot of people don't know that they're in that drama cycle.
What's happening with your nervous system?
Very good, yeah.
Right? Are you feeling triggered all the time? Are you constantly like, if I don't grasp with this, or if I don't show up in a certain way, it's going to slip through my fingers? Or are you like, oh, I set a boundary because I was actually busy this week, even though it's Valentine's week, and the person came back to me and said, I totally understand and respect that. You've got a busy, full life. Let's make plans for next week.
Are we calling our friends every 5 minutes like, you'll never guess what happened? And they're like, yeah, actually, I heard this last week. Right?
Exactly. Do you notice that you're repeating the same pattern?
Right. Have you been posting on Facebook like every few months that this new person is the love of your life?
Yes. So I think you need to scroll back through your Facebook on your own and see how many times have you posted about a variety of different people saying, this is the love of my life, they're so great.
My king.
Yeah, or my queen. That's often a red flag for me. When I see people doing that, I'm like, oh shit. And often what you can do is you can scroll through and see that repeated pattern. But maybe you don't notice when you're in it, right? You're just excited and hopeful. So take a look yourself and be like, oh shit.
Doing it again.
I'm doing it again. That's all the drama that is exciting, that's getting our nervous system revved up, which is not an opening to true love, which is constant, which is a discovery, which takes time, which is not going to happen overnight, which you're not going to declare your feelings in 2 weeks or 4 weeks or probably 4 months.
No.
Right? It's going to take some time. Whereas falling in lust, bam! You got your fucking drama.
You're the
you got
person.
Your sex. You can declare your love right away because it's not really love.
This is that soulmate I've been waiting for.
Oh my god, it's
the
just
twin flame.
It's just your vagina.
That's all it is.
It's just your lingam or your yoni or whatever you got going on down there, getting excited. And believe me, I have been in that fallen in lust part so many times, and I have loved it. Every moment of it.
It's been amazing.
It's been so exciting. So the difference is that falling in lust is you have this meeting and you're on fire and you start to discount maybe some of the red or yellow flags.
You paint them green.
You absolutely paint them green because it doesn't matter. You have high sexual chemistry, and even if the sex is not that great, the chemistry is still pushing the connection.
Definitely, I've been in that situation for sure.
You talk about sex all the time. You send sexts and sexy videos
and
photos right from the get-go. You probably sleep together on the first night or within the first week, for sure.
For sure.
And you know what? I lived a life on that, and I loved it. I actually had some really tremendous connections. I probably have old lovers watching this saying, hey,
what about me?
We had a great time. And we certainly did. You know, I had more beautiful connections with lovers in this lust part than not. Mm-hmm. But the key was I wasn't falling in love. Right? It's important to know the distinction that if you're going to jump into that lust, be clear about what it is. Make sure that there's not a trauma bond that's also bumping up that, chemical hook in. Make sure it's just lust, and then do your lusty thing. Get that lust on.
Don't kid yourself.
But don't fucking kid yourself that it's love. It could transform from lust to love.
It could.
But you're going to have to take some steps back and get into that curiosity.
Definitely. And I think, when we're starting from a place of lust, it's way easier to just convince ourselves that this is something, Yes. This means so much more than, oh no, actually this is just really good sex. Or this is just the fantasy that I'm creating,
And that's the thing too, is that when you're in lust and you're trying to make it into a relationship, you're going to notice that you're having to either change yourself to fit in to that relationship or try to change the other person to fit in. Right?
You're going to have to make excuses. You're going to have to make yourself small. You're going to have to pretend,
Yeah.
It's not, I don't know. I don't know if it's always an authentic grounds for creating a relationship.
I think it's a much more challenging ground to create a relationship out of. I don't think it's like there's no black and white, because I think healthy relationships, there are people who meet and they see that person and they're like, I'm in love, and actually they fucking fall in love and they're together for a long time and they have a happy relationship. So I wouldn't say never. I would just say it is harder with all those chemicals and all those hormones and the fact that you've built this intimacy so quickly. To take a step back then and realistically go, is this person the person I want to deeply invest my time in my life with?
Yeah, so what's your intention? Are you going out there to fall in lust? Well, great, if that's your intention. Right?
Amen.
But if you're going out there and you want a partnership, you want a committed, healthy relationship, that's the other side of it.
And take your time.
Take your time, do a deep dive into your patterns. with a professional.
Yes.
It's really important. Like, what are your patterns? Take an inventory. Take stock. You know, what are the beliefs that are driving me? Like, a lot of the times it's core beliefs from childhood that are really driving our dating choices.
Absolutely. And do you want to date from that place, or are you ready for true transformation in what you're doing?
I love that. So yeah, you don't have to date from your childhood beliefs.
No, and you don't have to date from your past trauma.
Please don't.
Right?
You don't have to. And all that takes is coming into some awareness.
Yeah.
Looking at, it's hard, but looking at your patterns. It's easy to say, you know, all these people have done these things to me, and yeah, some people have done shitty things, it's true, but we all have our own patterns that we engage in, right? So we can look at them and say, like, what can I do differently?
Well, and also trust the process. You know what? It's not going to happen in 5 minutes. So if you're like, I did it, I looked, it's been 2 weeks since my last partner, and now I'm ready to get out there again. I
have a counselor, it's okay.
I would say no. Friend, no. I would say take some fucking time.
It's going to take some processing. Really.
It's going to take months or maybe a year or two, depending on how big the past relationship was, depending on how big the trauma that you're coming out of was.
Core wounding, whatever. So
to really assess, right? And I would say give yourself the gift of taking that time if you want to be in a love relationship.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, take the time. There's no rush.
No, because you know what? You're just going to be juicier. On the other side of that process, you're going to be juicier.
Well,
you're
that's
going to be more
finding.
attractive.
That's what I'm finding. Like,
100% juicier.
Yeah, like...
And she was fucking juicy to begin with. I'm telling you.
Not just that. Just this idea of, like, as I'm taking my time and I'm exploring, I'm feeling way better about myself and more in myself. And that's attractive, right? That's the attraction.
And you know what? You just don't give a fuck as much.
No, you really don't.
Right? You just don't fucking care because you're happy. And you're
happy.
Like your own best friend.
And you're fulfilled.
Your own partner. Yeah, maybe you miss the sex a bit, but... Yeah. That's fun to do with a friend. But other than that, you're happy. You don't need somebody else to fulfill you anymore. Yeah. And so anything else... Any other love relationship that you fall into is bonus.
That's the thing, right? Coming
Yes.
from a place of like, you feel great, you love your life, and so it's a bonus if someone shows up. That's great for you.
Yeah. I think that's all we gotta say.
Yeah.
That's it. Fall in love.
Fall in lust. I mean, it's up to you.
Fall in lust. Experience limerance probably in each of those processes. Know that it's limerance. It's not love yet. It's just sparkly feelings.
And as always, like and subscribe. And if you have anything that you want to share with us, go for it in the comments.
We are loving your comments. Thanks guys. Okay, happy Valentine's.
Happy Valentine's Day.